it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Go away! Shoot! Goodbye!
Hey everybody,
Hey,
welcome to
group!
the Late Horror Show. Here we are, man. It's been a little bit. We've been having some breaks here.
Everybody's getting
know,
sick. Okay, this is
stuff
Northeast
going on
Ohio. It's January, February. People get the flu around here. This is when we get flu.
Yeah.
Over here.
It's cold outside.
And
anyway,
yeah, all the kids have been sick, and well, I don't know if
everybody.
you're sick. And,
But we got a good one, man.
you finally got a chance to see this.
Color Out of Space. Adapted from an H.P. Lovecraft, and we'll get into it and talk about it all here. But
it's
another
been trickling
film,
into theaters and festivals, and I think it might be out there digitally now, and it's coming out on Blu-ray. I think late this month.
Yeah.
Some places I think on the coasts got to see it first, or some of the horror festivals. But it's been a little elusive to try to see, at least if you're smack dab in the middle of the country.
Yeah, but it's a new film, 2019. Nick Cage in rare form, and
doing Nick Cage.
We'll talk about that in a little bit here. Yeah, I mean we're known for doing movies where something comes out of the sky and crash lands.
Yeah,
on the
we've
Earth.
done quite a few. You could probably do the list.
Yeah, we do that thing.
I like when things come out of the sky.
Yeah, but this is. It's very interesting. I mean, this is about the Gardner family. Nick Cage, his wife Teresa, who, what's wrong with her again?
She had breast cancer.
Breast cancer.
Now, this is dramatic storytelling. This is obviously not in the story, the short story.
And daughter Lavinia and brothers Benny and Jack.
Yeah, like none of these characters
this is
are. And even Nathan, even the name Nathan it's a. In the story, it's like Noam or something like that.
Okay.
It's like some.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, Ted read the book, so we can talk back and forth.
Well, I
on
mean,
there,
Lovecraft stories.
Even Tommy Chung plays Ezra, a guy
he's
out
pretty
in the
good
woods.
in that. Just a couple little scenes.
Yeah. But sorry, to interrupt you. Go ahead.
But I mean.
Oh yeah, but what?
Oh no, please.
Oh no, I just go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt you.
I didn't know if you wanted to start talking about Lovecraft a little bit, or talk about the movie a little bit.
Wherever you want to start.
Have you ever read any Lovecraft?
I'm not a big reader.
I know your brother was. Because he's the one who turned me on to him.
Right. Definitely my brother was the one who read like crazy.
Yeah, he told me ages ago, you got to read Lovecraft.
Yeah.
And I picked up a book he recommended.
Bizarre story.
Blood-curdling tales of the macabre or something like that it was called. Now I have the nice, I think they're out of print now, the Arkham Press hardcover collection of all his works.
Arkham? The Batman?
No, H.P. Lovecraft created that place.
Oh, that's right.
Arkham.
Yeah.
Not Arkham Asylum.
No, I know.
But the town, the New England town of Arkham. And The Color Out of Space is probably one of his more accessible stories. He's a hard writer to read. He's very verbose.
Yeah.
But it's now you probably were going to ask like how close is it or like.
Yeah, I was going to say we've talked about this a lot.
The general idea
like
is
even
very
the full
close.
Full Moon movie. The Lurking Fear, remember when we did that, it said adapted by H.P. Lovecraft, and you're like going,
they
hardly
use
anything
vague
from,
idea. I mean, even
movie,
like one of the most popular ones, like Reanimator.
Yeah.
Very little to do with
Loosely
the actual
based,
story.
yeah.
The basic idea is there, but Reanimator was such a cool movie.
Right. It's like everybody tries to take H.P. Lovecraft and say, it's always great if you see adapted from the so
or take like a pretty good movie. Did we do From Beyond? We did From Beyond, didn't we? I believe we did.
Okay, yeah.
I mean that story. I literally, it's like 2 pages.
From Beyond.
It's literally like a 2-page story.
Yeah, you can do that,
and they made a whole movie about it.
Right.
But
this is close to the movie.
Well, the story deals with a meteor that crashes on a farm, and the lightning bolts hit it, and it deteriorates into the ground and affects the fauna and the flora and the water around the area, and it does start to have an effect on the people living there. Everything
living within the area,
and the family that lived in the house, and it's being told. The story is being told by it's like told in first person from like the Ward character,
right?
In the movie, it would be like a character like him who's telling the story, which is how the movie actually starts and ends,
right?
With him telling the story. So in those cases, yeah. But Richard Stanley, I mean, he's got a good eye.
The director,
Yes.
directed by Richard Stanley.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about him, but the basic story, I mean, there's not much that's in the story that's not in the movie. There's plenty of stuff that's in the movie that's not in the story. But it's true to the spirit of what Color Out of Space was.
Okay. Yeah, I mean...
And it's one of several versions. I mean, there was a German version about 10 years ago, which I think you can watch it free. It's on Amazon. It's on Tubi. You can watch it if you want.
What's the name?
It's called The Color Out of Space.
Ein von Stein, Color Out of Space.
I can't even remember. I don't even remember if it's subtitled or if it's English. It might even be in English. It's just German produced.
Oh, okay.
And German acted, with German. But it's very different from this film, and it's very different from...
The Mummy!
It's very different from the story as well. Again, just the basic ideas there.
Yeah.
And I think there's been other versions, but another classic version from the 60s was Die Monster Die with Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
And that one's kind of weird.
I had to tell you about that one earlier.
Oh, you did? I seem to remember telling you about it. Have you ever seen? And that one is about a guy, a scientist, who's going to visit his... I don't know if it's a fiance or a girlfriend at her ancestral home. Except I think this takes place in England.
Merry old England?
I think.
Ooh.
I haven't seen it for a while. And he's the story mentions the blasted heath, where like it's just a wasteland.
Yeah.
And he walks through that going to the house, and it does turn out that a meteor did crash, and it's giving off such a radiation. It's not an alien entity.
Right.
It's giving off so much radiation that the plants and the fruits are growing huge, which kind of happens in this movie. The animals are mutating and growing larger.
Right.
The people living in the house are almost like radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
And they'll finally go mad at the end.
Their version of during that time period, I mean, that was a big deal.
But most of the movie is let's just walk through the dark, creepy house. Most of the movie is walk through the dark, creepy house and talk, and the last 12 minutes is action and here's what's going on. So, and you get Boris Karloff, and he's in a wheelchair, I think, in this movie. In that, is he? Yeah, and sometimes he just gets from like the top floor to the bottom floor, down in the cellar, and he's in that wheelchair. Just have an elaborate elevator system.
Wow.
I mean,
they do show down chutes into other.
They
stairs.
do show like in the basement, like a little elevator lift thing, but you don't see one anywhere else in the house. And he's getting from upstairs to downstairs, and it's not a bad movie. It's
wonder how he's moving around.
It's a late Boris Karloff movie. It's one of the ones you probably would have seen like on late night TV or something like that. It was made kind of on the cheap. I think it's a Corman produced.
Well, there you go. Yeah, well, you know what?
So, I mean, it's been made because it's one of his more accessible stories. It's not dense like Cthulhu or, some of the other stories where, he describes these elder gods, but, the description is always they are beyond imagination, beyond words. The only thing you have to fathom here is a color that you've never seen.
And I look at the color when I see the movie.
It's pink.
Well, it's pinkish purple. I'm not sure
that had to be very challenging as a director, though. I mean, it's
to make a color.
It's got to be, something bizarre.
No matter what, make it a bizarre color. But
it's still
how can you make it's still a color?
Right. Almost reminds me of like remember that movie with Ray Milland, the man with X-ray eyes.
Yeah,
that's such a great movie. Except where he puts these drops in his eyes and he's able to see beyond the spectrum that we can see in. At first he can see X-rays, he can see through things, through walls, and I always thought, and I think I don't know if I read Stephen King saying this somewhere. The way that film ends, and I don't care if I'm spoiling it for you. It's a billion years old. None of you are going to watch it anyway. Nobody cares about it.
Nobody cares.
He at the end he's being chased or whatever. He rips his eyes out, and at the end he's just screaming. And there's these black holes, and what I thought, and I don't know if I thought it first or then I heard Stephen King say the same thing or vice versa. I don't remember. Is that how it should have ended? Is when he ripped those eyes out, he just screamed, "I can still see." You know, like the brain, because his
Yeah.
brain is,
Yeah.
that would have been the way to end that movie. I still see.
That would have been cool.
You know, it's a great movie, and just when it ends, I just imagine that he says that.
Yeah.
Because that makes
You finish the story the way you want it to be.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
That would have made a little bit of a better ending, because like even after doing that to yourself, you still see it all.
Yeah.
But it's a cool movie if you haven't seen it. Ray Milland, he's got some horror credit. He's been in some. There was one of the Edgar Allan Poe, Roger Corman ones that Vincent Price couldn't be in. He would have been in it, and there would have been, he would have finished the whole series, but Premature Burial, which I know is on, it's on Amazon, and I think it's on a couple of the streaming services. It's a cool movie. But what was I getting at? Yeah, just the idea of making a color that we can't fathom. That's a very difficult thing to do in this way, and it's the title of the movie practically. So
yeah, no. I mean, it's very interesting. Once, let me say this: the movie itself, I really enjoyed. The first, Nick Cage is he's either bad or he's Nick Cage good. You know what I mean?
I thought he was kind of restrained here, and then with moments of Nick Cage.
Yes, there were moments of his like.
When he's going off on his kids and the
really,
wife later.
Yeah, really just going off and being, eccentric and he had tangents of that, and I enjoyed that part of it. Like when Nick Cage does Nick Cage good, like those moments, they're great. You love them. It's so those were good, and I did like how things started to break down towards the end there, but. I must say, when I started the movie and I was watching it, about 30 minutes in, I'm going, this is a boring-ass movie, man. This is just boring.
It builds. It takes a while.
It takes a while to build. So if you're somebody who may just turn it off after 20 minutes and go, this ain't my movie, this is one of them where it takes a little bit of time to build. And I gave it that time because... We had to watch it.
And I am definitely one of those people. I will usually never give a movie more than 45 minutes. If I'm not entertained, I'm turning it off and I'm moving on to the next thing.
You felt the same way during
right?
Or
but
no?
Maybe because I was so looking forward to watching this.
Right.
I'm a fan of Lovecraft. Hell, I got a Lovecraft t-shirt. All right. And I love the story. It's one of my favorites of his stories.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, I was going to watch this whole movie.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel bored because I knew what was coming. Maybe that's what it. I knew the things that were going to be coming, and
I was borderline.
I'm a mini fan of Richard Stanley.
But yeah.
I've seen all the films he's directed, and I've seen some of his documentaries as well. So I've always felt bad for him, and we'll talk about him in a little while.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's finally getting that chance.
I mean, this one, to break, get out there and
I think this is going to get him that recognition because it's
so.
pretty, well reviewed, and it looks like he's going to work on like a little Lovecraft, maybe just a trilogy of films. Some of his stories are sort of interconnected because the same elder gods are mentioned, but it seems like Dunwich Horror is the next one, and that's a really. That was a movie in the 70s with Dean Stockwell, and it's not a bad movie, but it could be done a lot better. And if this is an indication of what Dunwich Horror could be, folk horror, exactly. Yeah. If Color Out of Space is an indication of what he could do with Dunwich Horror,
got a little bit of that
with
Midsummer. I would love to see him tackle Dunwich Horror.
And I don't know what he would do for the third. I mean, there was talk of Guillermo del Toro doing At the Mountains of Madness. He really wanted to do that, and that fell through. Yeah. And that's a great story. It's a little bit of like a novella.
Okay.
But that's such a fantastic story, and it would make a really kick-ass film if it was done correctly. They made a silent version of Call of Cthulhu, the H.P. Lovecraft Society.
Okay.
You can go on their website, and they do make films.
Oh yeah.
They made a silent version, so maybe an hour of the Call of Cthulhu using stop motion to depict the demon. They did a really good version of Whisper in the Darkness, which I'd like to do on this show one time. Okay. Nice black and white, almost noirish type film. You'd like it.
We talked about this before.
Right, you'd like that one.
Okay.
So, I mean, Lovecraft's stories are just ripe for adaptations, and they have been adapted,
Like a yellow banana.
but mostly bad. Even one of the Corman Edgar Allan Poe movies, Haunted Palace. The title comes from an Edgar Allan Poe poem, but the story is a Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
It's
I think we talked about
case
that
of Charles
too.
Dexter Ward.
Yeah.
So that gives you a little taste.
Yeah. No, this is...
So it was a little. The first 30 minutes didn't grab you, but then when did it start getting interesting for you?
Well, yeah, when the colors started to change and things started
after the meteor
started to
hit, and now we're seeing what it's affecting.
Oh yeah.
Seeing the weird, because the meteor lands.
Right.
Some lightning bolts hit it. It starts to disintegrate a little bit. It's not quite what it was. Don't you love when the news shows up? And Nick Cage, he just comes off like a complete dolt. Like, had you been drinking it? Well, I had some wine.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
My wife and I were about to make love.
Yes, he says that. And you're like, what the hell?
And that was actually a big deal in the story, because we see a little bit of the family breakdown. And I think maybe that's what they gave us that half hour for.
Yeah, there was a lot of development of the characters.
In the story, this family was just there. That was their home.
Right.
But here, they've picked up and moved to Nick Cage's, I think, his father's home.
Yeah.
And he's trying to raise a farm, like a tomato farm, and llamas, milking llamas, alpacas. I guess.
What did he keep saying? It's the future. It's the future. Llamas are the future.
There used to be a llama farm up in Richfield, going up that way. I don't know if it's still there.
It used to be a big thing.
It was.
Then, it caught on a bit, and then I haven't heard much about
Nick was a little
llamas
late to the game.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But, his wife had breast cancer. She's, women get that, mutilated feeling about themselves. So
she don't feel sexy.
They haven't been intimate.
Yeah.
The daughter, Lavinia, she's getting into all kinds of Wicca.
Yeah, we start off the movie actually with Lavinia, and she's a teenager. She's on a horse. She's got her Wiccan, garb all up,
man.
And that's where she runs into Ward, the one who
he's working for these developers that are going to build a
Checking the
hydroelectric dam.
Yeah,
which will be a big boon for the city, or for the county, whatever.
But it's on their property, and,
right?
And, she's like, oh, okay. She lets him go and does his, checking of the water and stuff. He's got a little tent out there and all that. But yeah, she was doing some kind of spell there and stuff like that. And
evidently to help heal her mother. I think she was doing it for her mother.
And she was, I'm trying to remember what she was on. She was on some, Big Eyes. Big Eyes.
Didn't see that. I've seen every Tim Burton movie, but I haven't seen Big Eyes.
Yeah, she was in there. I think that was her.
I kind of gave up on his movies.
Only
around
other
that time.
big role, but yeah.
Like I didn't see Dumbo. And
she played the kid in The Killing. I know that's crap. She was the kid in The Killing. If you like that, it was.
She certainly looked
AMC
familiar,
show.
but I hadn't seen her in anything.
Yeah.
And then there's two sons. There's an older son named Benny. He's hanging around. Well, what's going to happen when you hang around with Tommy Chong? You're going to start smoking dope.
Yeah, he's some reefer madness going on with Benny.
And then there's the young boy, Jack. I think.
Jack. Yeah.
And he just talks to the dog.
Yeah.
He's kind of introverted. And,
definitely introverted. Yeah.
So the family is. Oh, and the wife, apart from having breast cancer, she's a. I don't know if she works for a company or works for herself, but she's like a financial advisor. Right. And there's just no internet out there.
No.
And she's constantly dropping calls and losing.
She's like, I'm losing all my clients. I need to, we got to get that fixed. Get the satellite up on the roof.
I feel like, bitch, get out there and milk an alpaca.
Milk an alpaca.
Milk these suckers.
He milks it later on and drinks it right out of the thing.
Oh.
Warm milk.
Not pasteurized
right out of
or homogenized.
That's the best way to do it.
Right from the teat.
Right out the teat, yeah.
Whoever, you're driving by, you're walking by, you're riding a horse by some cows, and you just think, I'm going to drink whatever comes out of these things. And why is cow milk? Like, when you mention other animals' milk, people's stomach, but, okay, a cow, that's okay. Why is that all right?
We also got to say a happy belated birthday to
Oh,
Ted.
thank you.
Yeah,
It's
it was
all
his
right.
birthday the other day, and you know.
Yeah, you get in your 40s, birthdays just don't mean shit anymore.
That's true, but
Maybe the milestone ones when you get to 50 or
had
60.
to mention
or,
it here on the show.
Thank you.
So yeah,
But really,
so send in your cards. You know,
your money, your
yeah, give us your goods.
give me your goods.
But
there's nothing to look forward to after that age. So I mean, it kind of sets that all up for the tragedy that will befall all of them.
And
at
they
the
all
end of the
seem to
film.
be running around this property. Like Lavinia will take off. Benny
Yeah,
will
like she's
come
got a
in.
horse. She's taking
you know,
off, and
Nick will come in. Who he plays?
kind of
what's his-
cool living in the
Nathan.
country on a farm. And
Teresa, you know,
see, for me, I'd love it.
I'd love that too. Yeah.
You know, growing tomatoes and milking alpacas, and I mean, I don't know.
How many
Beats
do you
working
have?
a day job.
Five or seven of them.
I
But,
don't know how many he has. I don't know.
but anyways, I mean, you know, yeah, it's kind of a slow go up until
Right.
things started
But
to
things
change.
start happening a little bit as the meteor hits.
Yeah.
Little purple, pinkish flowers springing up.
Doesn't it
everywhere.
happen after the meteor falls
Yeah,
through the
it
ground?
crumbles into the ground
And-
from the lightning bolts.
Yeah, and
the
kind of
deteriorates.
ends up, I think, in the well. There's a well where
Well, it's seeped into the earth. It's getting into the groundwater. It's
right.
and
yeah.
what this is
but
it's
the
a-
well seems to manifest a lot of
Yeah.
things throughout.
It's
this
it's
movie.
an alien entity from elsewhere, not one of the elder gods that
outer
Cthulhu
space.
talks about, but
Right.
it could certainly be from that dimension or
Could be.
area.
Yeah,
West of the Milky Way, wherever.
wherever. Microphone picks everything up.
What?
Starting to hit the table again.
I'm sorry.
Got to reprimand this guy every time.
Bam!
No, I'm joking.
Start rattling things.
Oh
here.
God, no. Anyways, we had 2 shows where you kept doing this.
Yeah.
Remember? And we get a big yawn out of them. So,
Hey, I did my time today. Man.
but yeah,
my
no,
hours.
yeah. I mean that well. So, I mean, colors start to come out. Little like what are they? Like dragonfly type
weird
things,
kind of insects,
or grasshopper type things.
and
Yeah,
that's
weird,
what
yeah.
happens in the story too. Slowly the
Different colors, and
the
Jack
animals
sitting on the
start
hill,
changing.
looking at the well, and colors.
Here's a voice.
Here's a voice.
The man in the well. And evidently Tommy Chong,
I
who
respond
plays
to you. I go, yeah.
Ezra. That's his name. Ezra.
Ezra.
He's been recording,
Oh.
and even though you can't really hear anything, he claims that he can hear, the voices, under
coming
the
up from
ground.
the ground, man.
What a great place he lives in, a tin hut.
Yeah.
I mean, why did they just let him squat on their land?
I don't know.
And there is sort of a character like him in the story, not an Ezra, but there's sort of like a
maybe that's why they
caretaker kind of
threw him kind of in there.
Oh yeah.
Don't you know that?
I guess. So and then once it gets going, and we start seeing mutated. What was it a cat or a raccoon?
Oh
or,
yeah, I think the rat ended up
right.
first. I mean, the cat ended up first getting
Mm-hmm.
it, and then eventually the llamas down the road. But yeah,
and that's where Richard Stanley's got a pretty good eye. I remember if you've seen 2 other films he directed. One's called Hardware, which is sort of like a Terminator kind of movie, and then he did this.
Sci-Fi.
He's from South Africa, I believe,
Right.
and so his next one that he did was called Dust Devil, which takes place in South Africa, and that one's kind of neat. That's pretty hallucinogenic, and that's got some neat visuals. And you could tell he's very visual, but he's weird as hell. If you watch interviews with him, he's
Those are the people that make the best
you know
films, man.
he's an artist. You
Yeah.
could let's just put it that way. That guy's that's all he could be. And then he was supposed to do Island of Dr. Moreau in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was his dream assignment because it's his favorite story. He's talked endlessly about reading it the first time he
Redoing
was a
it.
kid and the ideas he had about making the film.
Would love to see him
And
adapt that again,
Things,
man.
Some of his ideas got up the screen, but a lot of them didn't. And there were things that weren't necessarily in the book, but they fit in with the story.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was his first big budget film. He couldn't corral. I mean, what new director can corral Val Kilmer at the peak of his career? And they're just, we're going to throw Marlon Brando at you too, you know, and all the odd shit that he does.
Yeah.
And
No,
he could not control
yeah.
those two actors, and they had no respect for him.
And there is talk of him wanting to try to do this again, right? Or no?
You know, I mean, there's been 3 versions of it. Well, there's been, I think Full Moon did one too, but 3 like really good versions of it, official.
Yeah.
You know, and
the Marlon Brando one was the last one, right?
Yeah, and I don't even think that's a bad film. It gets a bad rap, but it's not that bad. It could have been so much better, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's not as good as Island of Lost Souls, but I probably like it better than the 70s version with Michael York.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
oh, yeah.
I like the way the animals looked better.
Michael York,
Yeah. So, I probably like it, you know, the second best one.
Okay.
Island of Lost Souls you can't beat.
Oh, hell no.
But it's a good story that could be told really well and have some really cool practical effects and some cool gory stuff in it. Mm-hmm. For the people that like that kind of thing.
I think that's ripe for a
he had a lot of ideas, like, you know, birthing scenes and things like that. He had a lot of cool ideas. There's even a documentary about it called Lost Soul, about Richard Stanley and that whole thing that happened. Like when he was dismissed from the movie, he just like went and lived in the jungle for a while, and he even snuck back on the set and put on like animal costume just to see what the hell was going on. He snuck back on. I mean, it really hurt him that bad he was kicked off. So then he did some documentaries.
That's funny.
You know, about like supernatural or mystical kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, he's into anthropology, does that kind of stuff too.
Right.
And now he's finally got this chance to, you know, do another movie again. But I'd love for him to get another crack at Island of Dr. Moreau.
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, it's like I said, it was panned at the time. It's not that bad.
I know.
I love the little guy that Brando.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a real guy.
I know.
And I love that. I think that's so interesting. I mean,
very cool.
But Brando, you know, being all painted, it just makes it that much more bizarre.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with it
the
is...
whole story itself is a bizarre story. So
it's a
why
fantastic
not
book. If you've never
incorporate
read Island of Dr. Moreau, it's a quick read, and it's really good. I mean, you know, like even when Dr. Moreau dies, like he always dies in the story. That's not where the story ends.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the humans, you know, they put his beat up carcass up there, you know, to try to fool them that he's risen from the dead and all. I mean, the story doesn't even end there. Yeah. There's more. But the story always ends with them killing Moreau. But that's not even where it ends. But I think the problem with that version...
We need more!
And I don't know if it was Richard Stanley's decision. I just don't think that lead actor... He's the guy that played the werewolf in the Harry Potter movies. The Lupin or whatever. Not the Gary Oldman one, but one of the teachers.
Okay.
And he's just not a very strong leading man kind of role for him. I think we needed a little bit of a... Val Kilmer probably would have been a little bit better in that role instead of playing, you know, Dr. Montgomery, which is what he played.
Yeah.
You know, he probably would have been better in the role of the main male lead who comes to the island.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I don't know if Richard Stanley had anything to do with that. But I'm very happy that he's getting a crack at horror and science fiction again. Because he's got a good eye. He could really be a voice for these types of films that have been done wrong for so long. So I'm very happy that he's coming back here. Cool. What else did we like about this movie?
No, again, once the weirdness started up is when I really, you know, caught on and said, wow, this is cool, because you know, it starts affecting her in the house, Teresa, and she's the scene that changes kind of everything. Is, you know, she's cutting up like vegetables in the kitchen, and she looks looking back, and she chops her
right. They show you too. It's like chop, chop, chop,
and she's just like turns around like nothing, you know. So it's starting to
the voices
take over their mind and all of this stuff to the point of they don't feel things that, you know, things are not as they seem, and he rushes off Nathan does with her to the nearest hospital, which is miles away.
Yeah.
And leaves all the kids in charge there. Well, technically Benny, but Benny is a reefer guy, and
he's having the animals.
Lavinia ends up hollering at them all the time.
The animals are starting to act up. Can't get the alpacas put away.
I love when they're gone, and he tells them, make sure you put those alpacas away before nightfall or something.
Yeah.
And he puts them away like 3 times because
they keep coming.
They keep coming out.
The dog runs off, and the little boy starts going shit show. I think in the book it describes this more like just sucking everything out of you, and you're just to the point where you're just lethargic and you have no will.
Yeah.
And it's you eventually just kind of disintegrate.
Well, it's funny how all the characters are like Nick Cage's character kind of becomes very eccentric, and
he notices a smell. No one else seems to notice it. He notices a smell all the time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a little because no other character
blamed it on
that.
the meteor at first, but he does keep saying that. But yeah, Cage's character kind of is very eccentric throughout the rest of the movie. Teresa, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Lavinia kind of going crazy a bit, whereas Benny is kind of just like laying low kind of thing, and Jack is kind of like the youngest kid, is just like very quiet and just soaking everything in. He's losing him.
They're losing him and not even really realizing it. It's kind of almost like Carol Ann and Poltergeist. It's found someone kind of to tap into a little bit.
Yeah, and he was, I think, the first, but
the most susceptible.
Very
to
slow.
It, I guess. As children sometimes are.
Yeah.
And and then the
body
horror,
scene, the body horror in this,
which doesn't take place in the story at all.
That was creepy.
It does fit in with the tone of the story and what's going on.
Right.
This is one of those one of those little Richard Stanley kind of things.
Almost like the movie The Thing. A little bit of elements to
the
that.
mother and the young boy get fused together.
Yeah.
By the color.
And let me tell you, when they get fused together and Cage's character, Nathan, puts them on the couch to just rest, and you're hearing her moan for I don't know how long, and the kid kind of moaning and crying too. Like, Mommy. And I bet it affected you, because I know you. But I was just going, this is frickin'
right. And you're like, what are you going to do? You can't take them anywhere.
And weird.
Because it affected all the electronics in the house. The phones aren't working. The cars, it's like an EMP pulse.
Right.
Nothing's working. And
you're wondering, I'm wondering,
they're trapped. They're literally
what is going to happen
here.
between, to them, fusing together like that? What the hell's going to happen, But, yeah, and he eventually go ahead.
Takes him to the attic.
Yeah,
he's going to lock him in the attic.
Yeah.
And there is a point where he's chases the other 2 older kids away, and he's going to go up there with a gun and put them out of their misery, and he can't do it.
I'm going to go up there.
Now I forget how does it come about that the sheriff gets out there?
Ward first comes, I think, to the door, and Lavinia
can tell something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because she was trying to do a ritual
Yeah.
after this happened, and I think the color of the voices got to her, and she started cutting herself up.
Yeah. She put
symbols and
Wiccan symbols all over her face and her body, and she was bleeding and stuff.
Devil worshiper.
Yeah, something. But Ward comes and sees that something fishy's going on, goes and gets the sheriff.
That's right.
Right. And then eventually the sheriff comes out with Ward, and but yeah, there's that whole process is going on in the house where you don't know where Benny's at really, who eventually gets it.
He's rolling a J, man.
Eventually they all just get it, you know what I mean? But it's just a very disturbing scene with her and him fusing and stuff together.
I didn't know that was going to be in the movie. That was pretty cool. That was cool. No. I didn't know a lot of details. All I saw was the trailer,
right?
And I knew who made it. And so that's what got me interested in watching it. He can't bring himself to kill his wife and child that are fused together. Lavinia starts acting the fool. He locks her up in there with her too, and this bitch is attacking. You know,
why did he
starts
throw
snapping and
why
shit.
did he throw Lavinia in there? What was his
Wasn't
thought
she,
process behind that?
I don't remember. I watched this movie like 3 weeks ago, but
yeah, I mean, it starts going really crazy, and eventually the sheriff does come, and with Ward, and they do go up there to the attic, and the sheriff shoots Teresa because she's at this point she's more monstrous than anything.
right.
Looks kind of like the kind of the Thing-ish. It's got that feel to it. And sheriff shoots it. So there you go. Teresa and Jack is gone. They're shot. And
Don't they go out to Ezra's too?
yeah, they go out.
I'm
there
not sure.
too.
I can't recall exactly why they go out there, but and his
Ward knows that Ezra's on the the site there, and they go out there, and
he's already
Chong
dead.
is sitting in a chair. He's
all
gone.
corpseified.
Yeah, and you could see all the light and colors in the eyes and the body itself, which was kind of cool. Again, the look of this film was fantastic. I mean, all the colors and the imagination with everything. Is just,
Even like later on when Ward's in the stable and Lavinia, she kind of shows him where it came from. You get that little vision. And lots of really the visuals were really cool. So
but summing it up though, the very ending of
which
the
like
movie,
when Lavinia and Benny are going to try to escape, they're like, the hell with it all, let's just go. And
well, I mean,
and it never goes to fail. They're getting ready. They probably could have escaped. Oh wait, I think I hear the dog in the well.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
Oh, for
Benny. But
Come
again, the alien or color, we'll say the color is already within Benny. So
he's trying to climb down in this well to get just like an Alien. Ripley goes back for the goddamn cat. I mean, you're gonna blow this whole thing up? You're gonna go back for a cat? Face this damn alien again?
Ted, some people would.
Listen.
But I hear you. I heard when I heard the dog barking and he ran back. I'm like going,
sorry, Sam.
You could be gone. You could be free. But would they have actually been freed, or would they have taken that color with them? They
may have had a chance. It probably wouldn't have let them get away.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they had a hold of them already.
I mean, hell, even the trees didn't even let the sheriff get away. Even like the trees come to life and wouldn't even let the sheriff get away. Ward got away.
But Benny gets it.
Climbing down the well. It's like the color just kind of comes up the well. And,
yeah.
You don't actually see what happens. He's
and Lavinia's looking down at there. And that's a very cool scene where like vivid colors just are behind her and exploding and
pretty much destroys her mind.
Yeah. And it's really, really cool. I mean, I love the effect. But yeah, she runs back into the house too, though. Because Nick Cage is kind of staying on the couch, and he's mumbling, that the family's still there. We're all here. They're all here. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, the TV and the color, the alien, is somehow got, the TV's on, and you could kind of see the static and stuff like that. And Nick Cage is just losing it, and he's slowly... on the chair, and that's when the sheriff and Ward are kind of running back and forth, and ends up on the front porch with Lavinia and Nathan, Nick Cage's character, and pretty much.
Well, he tries to shoot at the color, and I think Ward was there. I think the sheriff thought he was trying to shoot. I don't know. Well, that was before this, so. I'm telling you, we saw it like 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to remember.
I know. I'm like,
details.
this is.
But
this is weird that I'm looking at you going.
I know.
This is funny.
I saw it a few weeks ago, but it was really good.
3 weeks ago.
When you break it down, the whole family is decimated.
But that very ending of the movie,
Lavinia goes insane.
Yes.
She's not going to leave. Nick Cage.
She gets it too, though.
Right.
I mean,
I will not leave, and that's sort of how it was in the story. No one left. It became a blast. What is it? A blasted heath, just a wasteland.
Yes.
And
the very ending, it just like sucks everything, almost like an A bomb.
Right.
An A bomb. What am
A-bomb.
What am I?
Like
70
a
years
crumble,
old.
coming in.
Yeah, and just takes over this whole area, and the color like disintegrates in of itself and
Right.
takes off, out into outer space, and what's left behind is just like white ash and everything,
Right.
and somehow
That is the blasted heath that
Somehow
Lovecraft
Ward-
described.
survives it.
He was in the wine cellar, wasn't he?
Oh come on,
Was he in the wine cellar or the barn? I can't remember. where he
Ward
was.
should have been gone too, but
Well,
somehow
someone had to tell the story.
somebody had to tell the story. And what's with the very ending?
Well, they did.
Ward
make
is there in the
they've-
future.
They've made the dam. It's there. He knows that, the Gardner house, everything that happened before is deep under that water.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not drinking that water.
Yeah.
And just telling the story of what happened and how it's buried deep down into the water and into the earth, and hopefully it's there to stay.
Right.
And as he walks away, you see a little deformed insect, I think.
Yeah.
Buzz away, so it's still there.
Yeah.
That it didn't leave
That far in the
completely.
future, though. I mean, in the at the very beginning of the movie, I mean, it quickly,
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean,
ravished the whole place. Unless
because they were going to bust
yeah.
open and flood the valley. I don't know exactly how that works, how they do that. But I guess that wouldn't take long. I mean, if they, had everything in place, fill it full of water. I mean, I don't know how to do it.
But I mean, my point was the color took over that area very quickly.
Yes.
This being way in the future, and we just see that one little insect. It's like, wouldn't more have happened?
Well, I think it's just to tell us that
Between
it's
that period.
still there. That the
Yeah,
alien presence is still there, and it's still under there, and it could come out at any time. And that's how
Just
a lot
the
of his
scary-
stories are. That
Just
the
the
elder
scary-
gods they sleep. They sleep for eons,
And
then
they
they'll
wake up when
awake.
they want.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
They-
god
they
for
will
you.
awaken. So there's all these Cthulhu cults and things like that in some of his stories, and
I hear you.
so
Yeah, so that's the movie. Yeah.
that's color. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'm clacking my.
so that's
lozenges,
Color Out of Space. I really,
which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I really
didn't win
enjoyed
any
it.
Academy Awards, did it? I didn't watch
No.
I didn't watch, so didn't win no awards.
no Color. Yeah, it wasn't in there with the other movies.
No, not.
But what did win was Parasite.
the hell's that?
South Korean.
How does a Korean movie win the American Academy Awards?
Watch the movie and find out.
Did you watch it?
We will watch it very soon.
Why couldn't Midsummer win? I loved Midsummer.
A movie's got to come around every now and then and break new ground, and I think that's what Parasite kind of did. It's the
Korean movie.
first Korean to win Korean film to win an Oscar for Best Picture.
They just, they always do that. They just pick shit.
Ted,
don't
no. I haven't seen the movie yet.
I'm telling you,
Ted,
it's
the
shit.
movie looks excellent.
Yeah.
The cinematography
I'll
alone,
watch it. I'll watch it.
in what I've seen,
I'll watch
looks
it.
fantastic.
I don't care if it's
And you know what?
Korean.
Exactly, Ted, man.
I'll
some
watch
of the
it.
best
I've seen
films.
plenty of Korean movies.
Some of the best films I've seen are foreign films, man.
That's right. You never would have watched a
I get
foreign movie if
bored.
it wasn't for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't I turn you on to like samurai movies and stuff like that? I don't know.
I think the first one you told me to watch was Seven Samurai.
When we were,
and And I got hooked on
that's the movie.
Kurosawa. So yeah, there you go. But
Seven
hell yeah. And Ted's falling asleep.
No,
so,
I'm not falling asleep, but I will check out the movie. I'm curious, but it just I don't put any stock in those award shows, but
Well, this one. Well,
if it
we'll
can turn
see.
you on to
We'll
a cool
see.
movie,
Yeah.
I'll check it out. It's got must be something good about it. If I can get the damn subtitles to work, I'll watch it.
You'll get it to work.
So-
You'll get it to work. But yeah, no, Color Out of Space, man.
Yeah, if you get
I
a
would
chance
say give
to
it a
see
watch.
it,
Yeah.
and you don't have to be familiar with the story or anything, but I would say go check out some Lovecraft
Yeah,
stories.
don't get familiar with me, man.
Yeah.
What?
He's got lots of best of books, and there's accessible stories like this one or Herbert West Reanimator, things like that. Some At the Mountains of Madness, really cool stories written way back in like the 1920s. Pulp writer, just
Love the pulp. love the pulp art that they put on those books back in the
Oh,
day.
the covers on those
Just
old
oh
magazines
my
and stuff like
God.
that. It was exquisite.
Novellas with them on there.
You know, and maybe
So
they
many
wrote the
artists
way
in
they
the day.
wrote because I think they got paid by the
Oh,
word.
Yeah.
You know, so he falls in the category with Robert E. Howard with the Conan stories and Edgar Rice Burroughs with the
Yeah.
John Carter and Tarzan stories. That's where those things appeared in those little pulp magazines.
Right.
So check out some of Lovecraft's writing. Check out some of Richard Stanley's other movies.
Check out the documentary.
Yeah, Lost Souls.
Yep.
If you can give Dust Devil or I know Dust Devil's
Hardware.
streaming on somewhere. Hardware maybe too. He only did those two, and they're kind of cool. You get a little idea. So I'm glad he's back,
Cool.
and I'm looking forward to another Lovecraft film by him. It'll probably be a couple years, but
Awesome.
if that one does pretty good, then maybe we'll get a cool one
Get
after
more.
that.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see how he sort of intertwines them a little bit,
Same here.
if he does.
Yeah. No, excellent, man. And if you guys haven't seen the previous video put up, the cheesy 80s horror tag, feel free to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people are jumping on and
It's
doing
fun.
it, evidently.
It's fun. It's fun seeing a lot of other people mention movies that we've done
Yeah.
that we love, like Killer Clowns, of course, but Video Dead, Spookies, Munchies. People have mentioned so many of the bad cheesy ones.
Those
It's so
are terrible.
Oh my!
Do a good cheesy one like Street Trash or
Oh
Basket
yeah, no,
Case.
that's been up there as a lot of people's good.
How many other
good
movies
ones.
have a dick getting thrown around?
Best scene, man? That's for sure.
So
that was my
good.
best scene. Tag with the dick. Yeah, no, it's good
Street
stuff, man.
Trash.
But yeah, give that a shot. And yeah, another thing I'll be doing, I think, coming up this coming week, because Ted's going to be on vacation. So
yeah.
this coming week,
Family
we won't,
vacation.
yeah, we won't have a kind of a one of these shows.
I'd have to Skype
So-
in.
So I think I'm going to start up the Halloween trivia nights. I do want to get through all of those movies because they're set and ready to go. So
Yes, you've had
Look forward to
packets and
those.
packets of trivia questions.
oh yeah,
So-
yeah. So that's look forward to that, I guess. But yeah, other than that, that's about it, man.
All right.
Another one in the books. Maybe next one we'll go. Maybe we'll do an '80s cheese for.
Are there any left?
Oh, there's plenty left, Ted.
Any
Yes.
good ones?
I was talking last night with a couple people, Eric from the Death Twitch,
Uh-huh.
and Josh from the R-Rated Horror Podcast, and we were going over some old movies that we never heard before. There's still plenty out there, man.
All
They're
right.
still out there,
There's
and
gotta
I'm
be a
gonna
good one.
I'm gonna find another. Well, try. I mean,
There's
even if we
gotta
watch
be.
it and it's terrible, we'll go. Well, there's another one in the books,
No.
but we'll try. So yeah, look forward to that, and
All right, we're due.
yeah, there you go, man. Until next time.
The Cult.